Why is Invincible so loved and widely regarded as one of the best shows in the last couple of years in a world of superhero movies that are bombing back to back because people are so tired of them? Shazam! Fury of the Gods lost an estimated $117 million at the box office. Black Adam, starring arguably the biggest star in Hollywood, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, lost an estimated $127 million. Wonder Woman 1984 with $230 million lost. And to top it off, we have the lowest grossing MCU movie ever, which was their most recent release being The Marvels. Why does it seem like almost everything that comes out now is bombing one after another? And this isn't solely films either. The gaming community has the exact same issue with releases, and one that comes to mind for me that may be controversial is Starfield. Starfield at first glance is a revolutionary game that lets you travel essentially limitlessly across the expansive universe and experience new missions everywhere you go. In reality, this turned out to be a shallow universe that reused points of interest over and over in just about every system, with the quest being drastically less interesting than Skyrim. The planets were empty and lifeless, so rather than running to your mission in Skyrim and meeting new characters with interesting plots and spending time doing something for them that was well thought out, you just look at your phone and run for 800 kilometers in barren terrain. The issue is that everything in so many of these projects are far too ambitious, making the final product a half-baked mess. I think of it like the iceberg analogy. 10% of the iceberg on the top is what the viewer will see on the surface, whereas 90% of the iceberg that's hidden under the water is what truly makes the movie stand out as a good film. For instance, people didn't go see and come out loving the Batman because it was emo Robert Pattinson swinging around talking like he had a sore throat. They loved it because the writing was genuinely good, and the overall atmosphere was perfect for Gotham City. 10% of the iceberg is Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz, while 90% of the reason it was a good movie is because of the world building, the atmosphere, the detective side of things that we have not seen much in the films involving Batman, and the overall character arc. Batman spends so much time trying to find himself this movie, and in the final act is when Batman realizes how he can't just break criminals' orbital bones and expect things to get better for Gotham, and that he has to become much more than that. He has to become hope for the city. This entire revelation is due to the thug that Batman beats up says he is vengeance. Batman has been inspiring the wrong side this entire time. People are tired of reused, boring, uninspired characters with terrible writing that seems so awkward and uninterested. With all of this said, this is why Invincible is so good and has been so well received by audiences. Invincible is something a lot of people have never seen or heard of before. None of the characters are overused, and the voice acting is stellar. You can feel every emotion that the characters feel through the voices of J.K. Simmons and Steven.
What will you have after 500 years?
You, Dad. I still have you.
Omni-Man has one mission, and that is to conquer Earth, but in the 20 years he has been essentially undercover on Earth, he has become more than just a Viltrumite soldier. He has become a father who loves his family and has become so conflicted. He goes as far as leaving his station planet, which no other Viltrumite has ever done. The final scene is him crying as he flies into space. Even with all of this conflict and his father almost beating him to death, all the anger and conflicted feelings, Mark still hugs his father first thing after seeing him. The writing and voice acting are so powerful in a world of shallow, low-effort products. Not to mention the action is amazing in this show and is in a lane of its own, disregarding the other smash hit known as The Boys. It's become obvious to everyone but the production studios, it seems, that what consumers care to see is something that tries to go outside of the box that we are all so used to. This is why Invincible and The Boys have shaken things up so much. They're not afraid to be edgy and show things that people would never expect to see on television. They're not afraid to show superheroes in a dark light, behind the scenes. This is essentially a completely new aspect of the superhero genre. Does this remind anyone else of the shit show that is Disney Star Wars? The shows Kenobi, Boba Fett, and Ahsoka being something that you would watch to go to sleep with characters that are fan favorites somehow? Whereas relatively unexplored characters like Cassian in the show Andor or even The Mandalorian are massive successes with little backing behind them in terms of fan favoritism.